Hello, my friend. I am Pixie Dust, welcoming you to your one and only English channel, where you not only learn but remember as well. As the title of the video suggests, Tintern Abbey, written by William Wordsworth, is the topic of discussion today. I might have started this video with a brief discussion on William Wordsworth and then tagged his poem along, but I won't do that because that will be a time consuming thing and time is precious. So, without wasting any more time, let's talk about Tintern Abbey. If you are interested and you really want to listen, then hit the like button and let's continue. Wordsworth, with his sister Dorothy, has revisited the banks of the river Wye, W-Y-E, during a tour on 13th of July 1798. This was the same year when Lyrical Ballads was also published. You might be remembering that in my last video, The Table's Turn, a poem written by William Wordsworth, I told you that Tintern Abbey was added to Lyrical Ballads on the 11th hour of its publication. Today, I shall tell you the complete story behind this 11th hour edition. Are you interested to know? If yes, comment down below that yes, I am interested. Now let's know the behind story. Mr. William Wordsworth was personally very much moved with his first visit to Wye in 1793. Since then, he had matured and his seminal poetical relationship with Coleridge had begun. Wordsworth claimed that he has composed the poem, means the Tintern Abbey, entirely in his head, beginning it upon leaving Tintern Abbey and not jotting down anything, not even a line, until he had reached Bristol. But he had mentally completed the poem. So, when it was time for the publication of Lyrical Ballads, he quickly completed it and inserted it at the end of the collection of poems in Lyrical Ballads by Wordsworth and Coleridge. So now you will never forget that Tintern Abbey is the last poem in Lyrical Ballads. So what does Lyrical Ballad ends with? It's Tintern Abbey. And what does Lyrical Ballad starts with? It's the Rime of the Ancient Mariner, written by Coleridge. The poem, The Tintern Abbey, is written in tightly structured, decasyllabic blank verse and comprises verse paragraphs rather than stanzas. Categorizing the poem is difficult, and it contains some elements of the ode and of the dramatic monologue. In the second edition of Lyrical Ballads, Wordsworth noted, I have not ventured to call this poem an ode, but it was written with a hope that in the transitions and the impassioned music of the versification would be found the principal requisite of that species of composition. This poem, The Tintern Abbey, is a very long poem, so line by line discussion of the poem will make this video too large. So what we will do is, we will first discuss the theme or the outline of the poem, taking some combined lines together, and then I will read the poem out so that you can understand it in a better manner. Let's begin. Line number 1 to 49. Here, what the poet tries to say is that revisiting the natural beauty of the Wye after 5 years fills the poet with a sense of tranquil restoration. He recognizes in the landscape something which had been so internalized as to become the basis for out of the body experience. So now you understand that how beautifully it has been said that the poet has visited the river Oe after 5 years. As the lines in your screen says, 5 years have passed, 5 summers, with the length of 5 long winters, and again I hear these waters rolling from their mountain springs. With a soft inland murmur, once again do I behold the steep and lofty cliffs that on a while secluded scene impress thoughts of more deep seclusion, and connect the landscape with the quiet of the sky. The day is come when I again repose here under this dark sycamore and view these plots of cottage ground, these orchid tufts, which at this season with their unripe fruits are clad in one green hue, and lose themselves mid groups and copses. Once again I see this hedgerows, hardly hedgerows, little lands of sportive wood run wild, these pastoral farms, green to the very door, and wreaths of smoke sent up in silence from among the trees with some uncertain notice, as might seem, of vagrant dwellers in the houseless woods, or of some hermit's cave, where by his fire the hermit sits alone. These beauteous forms, through a long absence, have not been to me as is a landscape to a blind man's eye, but oft in lonely rooms and mid the din of towns and cities, I have owed to them in hours of weariness, sensations sweet, felt in the blood and felt along the heart, and passing even into my purer mind with tranquil restoration, feelings too of unremembered pleasure, such perhaps as have no slight or trivial influence on that best portion of a good man's life, his little nameless, unremembered acts of kindness and of love, nor less I trust to them I may have owed another gift of aspect more sublime, that blessed mood in which the burthen of the mystery, in which the heavy and the very weight of all this unintelligible world is lightened, that serene and blessed mood in which the affections gently lead us on until the breath of this corporal frame and even the motion of our human blood almost suspended, we are laid asleep in body and became a living soul, while with an eye made quiet by the power of harmony and the deep power of joy, we see into the life of things. If this be but a vain belief, yet, oh how oft in darkness and amid the many shapes of joyless delight, when the fretful steer, unprofitable, and the fever of the world have hung upon the beatings of my heart, how oft in spirit have I turned to thee, O Sylvan way, thou wanderer through the woods, how often has my spirit turned to thee. And now, with gleams of half-extinguished thought, with many recognitions dim and faint, and somewhat of a sad perplexity, the picture of the mind revives again, while here I stand, not only with a sense of present pleasure, but with pleasing thoughts. that in this moment there is life and food for future years, and so I dare to hope, though changed, no doubt, from what I was when first I came among these hills, when like a roe I bounded over the mountains by the sides of the deep rivers and the lonely streams, wherever nature led, more like a man flying from something that he dreads than one who sought the thing he loved. For nature then, the coarser pleasure of my boyish days, and their glad animal movements all gone by, to me was all in all. I cannot paint what then I was. The sounding cataract haunted me like a passion, the tall rock, the mountain, and the deep and gloomy wood. Their colors and their forms were then to me an appetite, a feeling, and a love that had no need of remoter charm by thought supplied, nor an interest unborrowed from the eye. That time is past. All its aching joys are now no more, and all its dizzy raptures. Not for this faint eye, nor mourn nor murmur, are the gifts. Oh my God, this poem is so beautiful. I just went on reading it. Let me give you the next few explanations of this poem. We will combine all the lines I said. I will not go line by line. But if you want a line by line explanation, I can do it for you in some other video, but not this. Okay? It will be too large then. So we completed till 1 to 49, and from 49 to 111 number line, the feeling of the poem or the poet want to say is that in thoughtless youth, when we are young, we are thoughtless, we don't have much thought. We do whatever we want to do. So in thoughtless youth, the poet had rushed enthusiastically about the landscape, and it is only now that he realizes the power that scenery has continued to have upon him, even when not physically present there. He identifies in it a sense sublime or something far more deeply interfused, whose dwelling is the light of setting suns, lines 95 to 97, and the immanence of a motion and a spirit that impels all thinking things, all objects of all thought, and rolls through all things, line 100 to 103. With this insight, he finds in nature the anchor of my purest thoughts, the nurse, the guide, the guardian of my heart and soul, of all my moral beings. The third movement of the poem is addressed to his sister Dorothy. We will come to it. It's the last part of the poem. My dearest friend, my dear friend. As a sharer in this vision, he is with his sister Dorothy. That's why she is the sharer of this vision now. As a sharer in this vision, and in the conviction that all which we behold is full of blessings. It is this that will continue to create a lasting bond between them. Have followed for such loss, I would believe, abundant recompense, for I have learned to look on nature not as in the hour of thoughtless youth, but hearing oftentimes the still sad music of humanity, nor harsh nor grating, though of ample power to chasten and subdue, and I have felt a presence that disturbs me with the joy of elevated thoughts. A sense sublime of something far more deeply interfused, whose dwelling is the light of setting suns, and the round ocean, and the living air, and the blue sky, and in the minds of man a motion and a spirit that impels all thinking things, all objects of all thought, and rolls through all things. Therefore am I still a lover of the meadows and the woods and mountains, and of all that we behold from this green earth, of all the mighty world of eye and ear, both what they half create and what perceive, well pleased to recognize in nature and the language of sense, the anchor of my pursued thoughts, the nurse, the guide, the guardian of my heart and soul, of all my moral being. Nor perchance, if I were not thus taught, should I the more suffer my genial spirits to decay. For thou art with me here upon the banks of this fair river, thou my dearest friend, my dear, dear friend, and in thy voice I catch the language of my former heart, and read my former pleasures in the soothing lights of thy wild eyes. Oh, yet a little while may I behold in thee what I was once, my dear, dear sister. And this prayer I make, knowing that nature never did betray the heart that loved her. This her privilege through all the years of this our life, to lead from joy to joy, for she can so inform the mind that is within us, so impress with quietness and beauty, and so feed with lofty thoughts, that neither evil tongues, rash judgments, nor the sneers of selfish men, nor greetings where no kindness is, nor all the dreary intercourse of daily life, shall ever prevail against us or disturb our cheerful faith that all which we behold is full of blessings. Therefore, let the moon shine on thee in thy solitary walk, and let the misty mountain winds be free to blow against thee, and in after years, when these wild ecstasies shall be matured into a sober pleasure, when thy mind shall be a mansion for all lovely forms, thy memory be as a dwelling place for all sweet sounds and harmonies. O then, if solitude or fear or pain or grief should be thy portion, with what healing thoughts of tender joy wilt thou remember me, and these my exhaustions, nor perchance, if I should be where I no more can hear thy voice, nor catch from thy wild eyes this glimpse of past existence, wilt thou then forget that on the banks of this delightful stream we stood together, and that I, so long a worshipper of nature, hither came, unreeled in that service, rather say with warmer love, O with far deeper zeal, O holier love? Nor wilt thou then forget that after many wandering, many years of absence, the steep woods and lofty cliffs, and this green pastoral landscape were to me more dear, both for themselves and for thy sake. Oh my God, do you see what a beautiful poem it is? Those who are still hearing me and have listened this poem till the end, I'm really thankful to you all. You know what? It's very important that you listen and you see the lines in the poem, so that even if you don't memorize it, you can remember the lines in the poem in your memory. At least you can identify when they come in your exam. So those who of you have stayed with me till the end of this poem and still hearing me, I'm very much thankful, and I'm sure your dedication towards your craft will surely be polished through years. Now, please like, share, comment, and subscribe to your Only English channel. And thank you for hearing. Bye. Take care. Love you all.